Welcome to this edition of the British Business Podcast. We're filming here today in the London XL at the Business Revival Show 2023. And I'm absolutely delighted this morning to welcome Ashlee Cooper.
Hi.
Of Ravages Marketing.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ashlee, welcome. And we're going to talk about your journey. Yeah, your experiences of parenting and the workplace.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. So for those who don't know me, I'm a new mum. I have a 1-year-old, but when I first pitched the idea to start my own business, I didn't know I was pregnant yet.
Wow.
So I had been working as kind of in head of marketing director roles for the past 10 years. And my most recent position was as head of marketing at a accountancy practice. So the company is Ravages Chartered Certified Accountants. And I spent the first 3 months working there, just sitting in on client meetings, listening to their problems, trying to learn about the professional services industry in general and why they need an accountant. Because my background was very much retail businesses, like kind of big brands and e-commerce businesses. I had never worked in the professional services sector before.
Right.
So when I joined the company, I heard over and over again clients speaking about how their biggest issue was driving up revenue, increasing profits, and that kind of stuff. And
the usual.
Exactly. And whilst accountants can help with a lot of that, there was one huge area that they can't help with, which is marketing. You know, love them to bits, but accountants aren't marketing professionals. They're not. So I kind of realized that there was a big gap in the market and an opportunity for us to provide a service for our clients and for kind of UK SMEs in general to offer marketing services. And I prepared a mega business plan using their business planning template that they give to clients and essentially pitched the business to the 11 partners at Ravages.
Okay.
When I pitched the business, I had zero maternal instinct in me whatsoever. I was that person that thought, oh, you know, even when I'm a mum, I'm going to be so work orientated. Like I just had nothing in me that was maternal. And then I, was waiting to hear from them about my proposal. It's a long process, right? So you kind of forget that you've even gone through the process because you're just doing your day-to-day job.
Yep.
And then fast forward, I'm sat in Greece on holiday with my husband. Unknowingly, very early stage, knew I was pregnant. I was about 3-4 weeks pregnant at most. And I got the text from one of the partners at Ravages saying, we want to invest in the business and we want you to start the business in January. So it's August and I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
We need to talk.
They don't know. So alongside that text, they say to me, we also want to promote you to partner at Ravages, the accountancy practice. So not only do we want you to start this new marketing agency, but we also want to promote you as partner of the Ravages accountancy
So your
practice.
career is all of a sudden about to take off. And at the same time, you found out you're pregnant.
Found out I'm pregnant.
Wow.
So instead of being excited, right, I'm absolutely petrified that I'm going to lose all of this when they find out.
Yeah.
You know, that standard kind of parenting guilt kicks in, right? Where you think, surely they're not going to hold out for me to have my maternity leave and then start the business. And why would they want to promote me if I'm then going to take time off? And it was all kind of going through my head. And then, of course, I had to go along with it for, nearly 12 more weeks that I was going to launch this new business in January because I couldn't tell anyone.
And, of course, you have to wait for that period to confirm your pregnancy and everything's okay.
Exactly.
Because that's an equally very worrying time.
Without a doubt.
So what must be going through your head? You've got a fantastic, obviously you're a career-minded person, clearly. You've been at that higher echelon of that career in marketing.
Yeah.
And now you've got a baby on the way.
It was...
Oh, my goodness.
It was such a scary time, so exciting because everything that I wanted was kind of coming into...
At once.
Yeah, it was so cool. But then on the flip side, I had this secret and I felt like I was lying to people and lying to my team and telling people this was all happening in January and knowing full well I was going to be due to have a baby 2 months later. So it was
That's a big responsibility on your mind, isn't it?
Yeah, and suddenly you resonate with all the women, right, and men who are kind of up for promotion or considering going for promotion and they find things out like they're going to have a family or start a family. And that I've never felt that fear of I'm going to lose all this. Like there's this real doubt that goes through your mind about your employer and how, you know, they all have their core values and they all have things that they say that they look after their team and this and that. But you
do they mean it?
really question whether they mean it when something happens to you on a personal level, even, you know, things like a loss or all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that hit
So is it
me.
right to say you were petrified?
Petrified.
Absolutely.
There was no excitement. I couldn't get to
So
the
here,
excited
so here you are.
phase.
The best thing that can ever happen to you
Yeah.
and your husband, you got a child on the way. It's the
Exactly.
best time of your life, the most exciting time of your
Exactly.
life. But you're now having to cope with, okay, well, once I get the pregnancy confirmed and I have my 12-week scan, then it's about, I need to sit down with somebody and have a conversation.
Which was also...
So how did they take it? Tell the viewers what happened.
Oh, they were amazing. I mean, and not all employers would be. So I am happy to have conversations with people about how I spoke to them and that kind of stuff. But, you know, I sat down in front of one of the partners and I told him. And he literally turned around and was like, Ash, the business idea was great. You're great. We still want you to be partner. That would have happened anyway.
Wow.
Take as long as you need. And when the time comes that you're ready to get this all going, we'll go.
Wow. So a massive shout out for the business. Yeah, so Ravages.
Exactly.
Yeah, massive shout out for them.
They were honestly so lovely about everything. They made me feel so comfortable. You know, even through my actual maternity leave, they were checking in on me so much. Like, they were absolutely and have been so supportive. You know, now, fast forward, I'm trying to get this business, you know, going.
Yes.
And at the same time, I'm trying to help my 1-year-old, well, now 1-year-old, kind of thrive in his own nursery environment and all of that sort of stuff. And it's definitely one of those things where you're like, always feel like you're having to say to somebody, hey guys, sorry, I've got to go pick up my son from nursery. He's got temperature. I can't work today. And, you know, it then led on to a whole different series of things, which is, okay, making sure the right systems are in place in the business so that if you need to take time away, it can run without you. And making sure you've got the right team in place so that everything, they've got your back, you know, if you need them. And
so how long did you have off after the birth of your son?
so I only had 6 months off.
6?
But I mean, I knew that obviously because of COVID, the business, both businesses, my new agency and the accountancy practice, had pretty much gone fully remote. So I knew that I didn't necessarily need that kind of full year off. I think looking back, it would have been lovely to have had that year with him, mainly because he gets ill at nursery every day and I could have avoided that. But, you know, it allowed me to feel like, okay, from 6 months, I can work from home.
Okay, so again, maybe one of the things, maybe one of the only things that came out of COVID actually as a positive was the fact that we all got used to this remote working, which has become hybrid working
100%.
and it's become acceptable. And it actually doesn't affect productivity and output.
No.
And we can still manage. And we can actually work different hours and be a productive contributor to the business, but just at a different time of the day. One that fits around your lifestyle and your family needs.
I think.
And isn't that great?
I think that's what's so insane is that even, you know, pre-COVID, life just wasn't as appreciated by employers in general. And, you know, now that I am an employer and I am the director of my own company with my own teams around me, I'm so mindful of their lives. You know, what's going on with you? Do you need, do you need time to step away from things to do this? And you're so much more aware of their mental health. And there's just so much more awareness amongst employers from COVID, not just the physicality of the remote working and the practice of that, but the actual appreciation to people and their needs. There's so much more empathy now, I think, in the workplace.
And that's such a good thing. It's such a good thing. You know, I'm so pleased to hear that. As you know, with us, within our business Success CXP, we're all about people. Yeah, we're all about wellness in the workplace. You know, so to hear an employer actually, you know, come forward and say how important it is today.
It's massive.
Yeah, it is. Because we're all juggling the work life. You know, there's a work-life balance and we're all juggling it. Some people will say they're fighting it because it is a challenge, isn't it? But to have the support of your employer who's with you, who understands and cares, I mean, that's just such a refreshing.
I think that's the thing, right? You know, I'm trying to lead a team and build this business, but at the same time, I've got to be as real with them as possible about what's going on in my life because I want to cultivate that same culture of transparency back. And so when I have got things going on, if my child is unwell, or if, there's a loss in the family or anything that's affecting me, I make sure the first thing I do is let them know exactly how I'm feeling, because I want them to know, okay, if our boss is that open and honest and transparent about stuff, then we feel like we can be the same.
Exactly.
And it really does help that culture of transparency kind of grow in the company. And I think I'm really lucky that I had great managers prior to being promoted at the accountancy firm to learn that from as well.
Yeah.
Because of my experience. Although now I look back and can't believe I was so terrified to tell them about everything when in hindsight that gave them very little credit to how good they'd been to me.
Yeah, well, as I said, that's so good to hear. So let's talk about marketing and accountancy. Because as you said, with a traditional accountancy practice, kind of they don't go hand in hand.
Yes.
But today, obviously, very much. And today you've got to get your business out there. And of course, that's exactly what you do for the organisation.
Yes.
So how's that going?
So, I mean, it's when I joined the firm, they had, I think, 6% or something like that of new business attributed to marketing efforts.
Yep.
Most of their new business came from, client referrals or existing clients that start new businesses, right? So that was kind of the bulk of it. And now we're over 20% of new business comes from marketing efforts. So it's, every different business that I've worked with, there is a completely unique strategy. And everyone always says I've worked for so many different sectors. And now with the marketing agency, I work with property businesses, e-commerce businesses. It's so varied. Yeah. And if you look online, job descriptions say, I want a marketing person that specializes in this industry. But actually, a really good marketing person understands that it's all about how to connect with their target market, any business's target market. Okay. And if you can really understand who the target market is and figure out the best tactic in your pool of marketing tactics to connect with that target market, as long as you really understand people, you can do great marketing for any industry. And I truly believe that. At Ravages, it was kind of all about how do we leverage the talent and the brains behind the business, right? Because the product we're selling isn't compliance services, it's not tax planning, it's not all of that. Whilst it is, yes, we're selling the partners that front up the firm. They are the people that, people by people. Yep. So our strategy was all about, okay, how can we use social media, LinkedIn, running their personal brands on LinkedIn, getting them on the radio, on podcasts like this one.
So to show that accountants actually are real people.
Exactly, exactly. Because ultimately, you should expect, especially from an accountant, you should expect all of them to understand like the standard compliance stuff. That's what they do. Yes. It's like you don't speak to, you don't go in McDonald's and think that you're going to get anything other than chips and a burger or whatever. You know what you're expecting.
Absolutely.
So what is more important is what's your relationship with them? Are they proactive? How quick do they get back to you? What advice can they give me outside of the standard compliance, tax planning, that sort of stuff? What else is there that I need to know? Yeah. And I think that comes from what are the people like? Yeah. Is this somebody that I can sit down that's going to meet me for a beer or that's going to do this?
So it's a relationship.
It's a relationship.
And it's people. Because at the end of the day, people buy from people. Exactly. And we keep saying that on this show. It's people that matter.
And they do.
So tell us a little bit about the business. Ravages, where are you based? I mean, are you just one office or multiple offices?
So we've got one big office in South Woodford, so Essex, Essex, London. And I mean, really though, we all work pretty remote. So now we've got clients all over the UK. Yeah. Pre-COVID again, I know I keep saying it, our target market was very much Essex, surrounding the M25. It was very much, we knew where we needed to target because clients didn't want to travel much further than that. And a Zoom call wasn't heard of. Yeah. Now we have clients absolutely everywhere. And from a marketing perspective, I generally work with the existing clients at the firm. Yes. Because we have access to the numbers, right? So unlike any other marketing agency, I can look at what we're doing and see the direct impact on that balance sheet. Yes. Which is absolutely unheard of for any other agency. Because whilst they can look at those vanity metrics, likes, engagement, this, that, they can't look at the numbers and say, you know what we're doing has attributed directly to this increase in your profit. Yeah. And you are paying yourself, therefore, this much more than you were last year. Yep. And I think that just adds to kind of our belt as a firm in general, because we're looking at clients and thinking, no, they need so much. It's not just the accountancy stuff they need. How can we help them with digital solutions? As you said, for what you guys do, employee benefits, communication.
Yep.
Is there anything we can help them with, marketing or social, whatever it might be?
Yeah.
And if we can't do it ourselves, we find the best people possible to help them with it. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So it's business support.
Exactly.
Helping your clients become the best they can be, and connecting your clients with the right organizations and partners that you work with.
It's all, I always say this, but it's all about making sure that you're not the most talented person in your business.
Yeah.
So we're all about, all of the partners at the firm and me as the director of my agency. Yeah. It's about surrounding yourself with people way more talented than you.
Yeah.
You look at what you can do, right? And I'm sure you're exactly the same. Look at what you can do.
I surround myself by a gentleman called Michael Thorpe. Yeah, so I'm not daft.
Exactly. And I think that is exactly what it's all about. It's about, okay, what do I need? Who can make sure that I am being the most competitive, offering the best service, and doing
you're absolutely right. And it's what I say in the workplace and in a business. You need a team of mixed ability.
Yes.
You can't all be one thing. You need to have that throughout the organization. And as you say, you have access to the resources and talent that you need to roll out at the appropriate time for that client.
Exactly.
And that's clever. That's clever.
And it's clever right for life. I mean, we're talking now about how you balance personal life, business life.
Yeah.
Well, I can go and sort my kid out or do this because I know I've got way better people in the company than me to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And, I'm still on the phone for that relationship management side. And, if I'm building out a marketing strategy for clients and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if it comes to running a social media channel for a client now, I'm a bit older than I used to be. I'm not as up to date with all the changes and all of that. I try, but I've brought someone in who is unbelievably savvy, obsessed with that world.
Yeah.
And, she just stays on top of it for me. And
Lovely.
Again, design. I've designed billboards around London and that kind of thing. Now, I don't involve myself in that because looking back, I want the best designers to do it, not the average designer to do it.
Yeah,
so it's definitely about surrounding yourself. And, I wouldn't do my own tax planning.
No.
And I wouldn't do my own wealth management advice. I have the best people for that.
Exactly. You'd go to the right people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's all about. So I think, if you've got the right people in place, it's much easier to have the life that you want to live, but also to make sure your business is operating in the way that it should be.
Yeah, so what you've done today, Ashlee, you've been a perfect example to our listeners about that work-life balance, what to do in a situation where you actually, through life it happens. You have you in your situation, your career and the birth of your first child was coming along, but you managed it. And you managed it because you communicated it correctly to your employer. You had a fantastic employer who looked after you, supported you,
thankfully.
which is so refreshing today. But again, you're a great inspiration to people that it can be done. And here you are today. Your career's going from strength to strength.
Yeah.
And I guess you're ready to tell your employer that you're expecting your second child shortly.
No, that is not the truth. Absolutely not. Interestingly, that's not on the radar at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Absolutely. Like, I will say straight, that is something that I want to do. At some point there will be a second child, hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything goes well.
Sure.
And I think I've also learned from this first experience where the next thing that I will need to focus on before that happens is those client relationships, making sure that your communication is set out of, what we expect, what they expect from communication, so that when I do need that time away, that's all in hand. The systems, the processes, the stuff that I probably didn't think about the first time around being absolutely airtight, that would be the next step. Can I 100% guarantee that if I need to take 9 months or whatever away from the business, it can run? Have I got the right people in the right seats doing what they need to be doing? So I think that will be a completely different journey, and it's not one that I'm not thinking about. I'm already thinking what needs to be done to make sure this is solid, not just for the odd day when I'm out, as I said, sorting out my child, but for the odd year that I'm out, what needs to be done. That's definitely the next challenge that I'm going to be tackling.
Well done. Ashlee, thank you so much for your time this morning.
for having
Have
me.
a great time here at the Business Revival Show.
Yeah, I will. You
Yeah,
too.
hope it's good for you. And I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Me too.
I look forward to hearing about your continued success and obviously the growth of the family as well.
Thank
Okay,
you.
lovely. Thank you so much. So thank you so much. That's us at the Business Show today, and look forward to seeing you next time on the British Business Podcast. Goodbye.